Welcome back to a special edition of MSG 150, where we celebrate the 50th anniversary of the 1970 New York Knickerbockers NBA championship team. All right, so the regular season could not have gone much better than it did. So now you go into the playoffs, and many people perhaps forget what a difficult challenge the Baltimore Bullets were. The first round, you have to go 7 games. Clyde, you can start with this one. Were they the foe you feared the most, the Bullets?
Yeah, the matchups were uncanny. Everyone was like a superstar. Ansel, Reed, Monroe, Frazier, the Busher, Johnson, Bill, and those guys. So even when we won, we lost because it was so physical. As you mentioned, it went 7 games. So most of the time when we played them, it was a tough 7-game series. They did a lot of running. But we always thought that if we could stay close to them, keep the game close, down the stretch, we'd find a way to win, and usually we did.
Bill, what do you remember from the Bullets rivalry?
Jack Marin, who was the guy I was guarding. He continually thought that I hit his elbow when he shot. And, we all know that wasn't true. It was a very physical series. I remember Clyde and Earl and Barnett and Lockery, and the real matchup, other than the one obviously of your own, was DeBusschere and Gus Johnson. DeBusschere would always say Gus Johnson was the strongest person he ever played against because he'd have his hand check on his hip. He couldn't go in that direction because Johnson was so strong.
Gus Johnson, Mike, was the first guy to tear down a backboard. That was back in the 60s, late 60s. So he's about 6'7", had an Adonis body. And, the whole Bullet team was Showtime, starting with Earl. Only Ansel was the only guy that wasn't flamboyant. And they had this guy, Mad Dog Carter, who used to come in the game. He thought he was the Pearl, so he would talk a lot of trash. So it was a series that we really relished. We liked to play those guys because when they come to New York, they always tried to outdress us. They would all be dressed up trying to do everything the Knicks did. So it was a lot of fun playing them.
That was a series. Willis in Game 5 set the Knick record. He had 36 rebounds in Game 5 of that series. And then DeBusschere and Barnett each had 28 in the Game 7 to advance to the next round, which was Milwaukee. The Bucks had a rookie named Lou Alcindor back then, but you were able to dispose of them in 5 games. So that sets up the finals matchup against Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, and the mighty Lakers. What do you remember prior to the series? Where was the confidence level there? What was the mindset going in?
We didn't care who we were playing. We thought we were going to win. And they had 3 all-time greats, but we thought that the 3 all-time greats don't beat 5 people who care about each other and play unselfishly and have complementary talents and want to win fiercely.
It was funny, Mike, when they got that team together, when they acquired Baylor and Chamberlain and West, you were like, how will these guys ever lose a game? And then after a couple of weeks, you were saying, how will they ever win a game? They had so much ego problems that Wilt was clogging up the middle. Elgin couldn't do anything. And Wilt wouldn't pass the ball. So it was a lot of chaos. But then, they went on a terrific winning streak. They settled down. And in Game 6, Chamberlain pulverized us in L.A. 40 points, 20-something rebounds. So now we're coming back to New York. Willis is hurt. And we're saying, how are we going to stop Chamberlain?
Yeah,
well,
that 6th game, of course, came after the 5th game where Willis was injured. So Willis was not in L.A. When Chamberlain ran his record. And people always talk about the 7th game, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that. But to me, the most important game of that championship year was the 5th game, when Willis went down in the 2nd quarter. And I think that the game illustrated everything about our team, because here he was, most valuable player, as you say, Clyde, 36 rebounds in one of the games. and he goes into the locker room. And so we have to be there. So we go into the locker room, and what we do is we devise a whole new offense to play, with every guy on the team contributing to, well, what should it be? And then we go out and execute that. It's like a 1-3-1 zone offense, and we win. But it illustrates the unselfishness of the team. It illustrates, the imagination of the team and the discipline of the team. So that fifth game, we went in, showed imagination, devised this offense, discipline came out, and we had convinced that we were going to win this game. And I think that set the stage for the seventh game, when Walt Frazier, Willis had heroics, and Walt Frazier had the best game of any player in the history of the NBA in the seventh game in the finals. And but that fifth game was the one that, to me, illustrated the best of what the team was.
Clyde, what do you remember from Game 5?
Well, Bradley was the catalyst. It was his idea to try to change the offense. And, Holtzman, sometimes you could not impose your will on a game. He wouldn't listen to you. But this particular time, he was very receptive to what the players were saying. And I can see Stallworth now beating Chamberlain off the dribble along the baseline.
I could see that reverse. Yeah.
So, Bill, the offense you played in that game, that's the first time you had run that offense ever?
Yes, the first time ever. I mean, the situation changed. We didn't have a center.
We'll have more of the MSG 150 presented by Chase. Up next, a very special guest.